rather a high-end used car than a low-end new car? Then welcome to Second-Hand Heroes. Fifth Gear's very own King of Drift, Sid North, has handpicked two pre-loved gems. A modern classic you can drive every day, plus a proper classic that you can bring out at the weekend, and both can be driven away today for a fraction of their original price.
If you had to name some landmark roadsters from the last 40 years, it's a decent bet that these two would top the list.
The Mazda MX-5 and the Porsche Boxster. To say these two are iconic would be an understatement, particularly these two versions, the Mark I MX-5 and the 987 Boxster.
I'll start with the Mazda.
When the MX-5 was launched in 1989, it dumbfounded the world. Firstly, because sports cars like this were normally made in Europe, not in Japan.
And secondly, why was this car even being made?
At the time, most car manufacturers had abandoned sports cars. They just thought it would be nigh on impossible to make a proper driver's car like this at an affordable price. And yet, Mazda proved the doubters wrong, because so far they've shifted 1.2 million of these things.
Using the legendary Lotus Elan as a template, Mazda simply copied its small, light rear drive recipe, and the rest is history.
The very first MX-5 had a 1.6-litre naturally aspirated four-cylinder, but in 1993 it had a 1.8-litre upgrade, which this car has.
The result is 130 horsepower, which can propel this car to 60 in just under 9 seconds and onto a top speed of 123 miles per hour.
What's it like to drive? Well, it's a riot. The steering's lovely, tactile, you know everything that's going on with the front end. There's a lovely sense of communication, you know what the front axle's doing. And the motor, it likes to rev, it still goes.
Combine that with a rifle bolt gear change, instant throttle response, and a weight of just over a ton, and this is as close as it gets to a road-legal go-kart.
Back in 1993, this car would have cost £16,000. On the used car market today, you can pick them up for as low as £5,000, but expect to pay nearly double for a low-mileage, decent example.
Naturally, there are a few things to look out for.
Mazda never rust protected the MX-5, so buy a neglected one and it could cost you over £5,000 in repairs. And the radiator can get blocked. Allow £300 for a new one.
Right, let's move on to Germany's take on low-cost, open-top thrills.
When you look at the Goliath that Porsche has now become, it's hard to believe that in the early 90s the company was facing bankruptcy.
They needed a financial fix, and the solution came from the car I've just driven.
Porsche looked at the success of the Mazda MX-5 and quickly realised that there's money to be made in making an affordable sports car. By that, I mean affordable in Porsche terms.
So in 1996, the Boxster burst on the scene.
It was a hit, and it kick-started the company's incredible recovery.
In 2005, this second-generation Boxster appeared, which had the model designation 987. It looked near identical to the old car, however, 80% of it was new.
Two engine choices were available, both normally aspirated and both a flat 6, which means that the cylinders face horizontally, 3 in each direction.
The engine slowly increased in capacity and power, and by 2009 this top-of-the-range S model boasted 3.4 litres and just over 300 horsepower.
All you need to know is that it gets to 62 in 5.3 seconds and it will go on to 170 miles an hour.
Unlike a lot of Porsches, this car is mid-engined.
Which means it's just behind me. Having the heaviest bit in between the front and rear axles just gives this a perfect weight distribution.
though getting at it for repairs or servicing is a bit tricky.
To drive, it's just an absolute sweetheart of a car. The steering tells you everything that's going on with the front wheels. I've got a beautiful driving position.
Right then, let's talk money.
20 years ago, a 987 Boxster S would set you back £40,000 brand new. Today, you can pick one up for as little as £10,000.
However, you must buy very carefully or else.
If the engine is sounding excessively noisy, or if there's a drop in power, it could mean that the exhaust manifold is cracking.
That's about £4,000 to fix, nearer to £8,000 if both manifolds have gone. And finally,
check that the roof hasn't got any holes and works perfectly.
unlike the MX-5's manual roof, the Boxster's is electric, and a new motor will cost about £400 fitted. So, two standout soft tops from two different decades, but if I could only choose one, it would have to be
the Boxster S. It takes the same recipe from the MX-5 and elevates it to a new level.